Greetings, Lore Seekers, and welcome to this possible conversation on a particular problem in Star Wars Disney canon. Now, why do I consider this to be a problem? Well, we are given a character who seemingly has exceptional abilities and knowledge that doesn't really attribute to a lot of things. Now, this is no issue against the actor, as they are doing their job. They are playing the character in the role in which they have been asked to do. No, this is more of a character who has been given such wonderful abilities that we can only dream of, and as a side effect that means we have no relation to the character, we have no interest in their story, and we generally don't seem to have any investment. I'm of course talking about the character of Rey and her seeming awesome ability without having any struggles. The things we've all gone through. Now, the reason why I bring this up is this is perhaps a theory of mine that could answer, at least in part, not fully, I'll get to that, part of why she has access to all this vast information and vast knowledge, but has never thought to put it in practical use until she starts encountering things and discovering that she actually has these abilities. So, perhaps if you have already seen my video on the Kiffer species. Now, I'm not saying that Rey is a Kiffer herself, as the rarity in the Star Wars galaxy was already at an all-time low during the fading days of the Old Republic. Perhaps they are not bringing back a Kiffer into canon at this point, but perhaps an offspring of, say, a human and a Kiffer. Perhaps a Kiffer who was not able to give their child their signature tattoos that would mark them as a member of their species, or even, if they had the abilities of their race, the rare gift of being able to know the exact history of every item they touch, where it's been, what it's done, all the events associated. You probably worked out where I'm going with this. Well, what I'm saying is Rey could be a Kiffer hybrid who doesn't actually have the identifying marks of a member of the Kiffer species, but one who could also be gifted with the gift of psychometry. She's able to touch any item she comes across and she instantly knows its history and what it's been through. Now, you take a specific scene in, say, The Force Awakens, and suddenly she starts having a flood of information. Combine that with her force powers, and not only do you get someone who's overwhelmed, you get somebody who's absolutely freaked out by this item she's just touched. Which, technically, if the fact that Ben Solo was using that lightsaber is a device that has been through 2 Jedi purges, so, you can kind of expect a little bit of freaked out from the lady who's just picked it up. Now, this only partly goes to explain how she gets some of her abilities, because she will have gained the knowledge of every move that weapon has ever been used in. Every parry, every riposte, every single combination. However, that doesn't explain how she becomes a master swordsman in an instant, because if any of you have ever done any swordsmanship or any martial combat, you understand something that is known as muscle memory gets embedded in you, and that you know those moves as a reaction. You don't have to think about them. Yeah. So an enemy comes forward, you go to parry, you go to block, and then you immediately counter-react. To someone who might have that knowledge but not the muscle memory, that would make you very sluggish and perhaps very, very disorientated in a fight. Because you know how to move, but you're constantly having to think about it, which would mean that an enemy could take advantage of that. So it doesn't go to explain why Rey is able to fight Kylo Ren at such a level. Either that, or, Luke was severely bad at teaching his students how to fight. Considering Luke's education, that wouldn't be surprising, though, to be honest, Luke had spent many years training himself in Legends and before to you know, use various other martial combat to make up for that shortfall. But this could at least make Rey more emphasize. You could more relate to the character if you had this in mind, that this is an ability that she has due to her in part being a member of the Kiffer race. It's like in, like say, D&D, you get certain racial traits that give you benefits to certain skills and abilities. Granted, I don't think JJ or any of the other current executives at Lucas Disney run Star Wars would have read any of the Legends material to know about this, and I hate to give them this out, but it was just something that occurred to me the other day when I was thinking about it and thinking about some of my various videos, and it could slightly redeem what's happened with a lot of the stuff. Now, bad writing choices aside, or bad decisions on choreographing or even story cohesion and creation, this could at least in part repair that character's story. Granted, if you've watched the episode 9 trailers, as I have, and you have no desire to go and see the movie, everyone keeps telling me what I'm supposed to be. Oh, nobody knows. No, we have no idea about your character, my dear. That, like I said, is not a question on you, that is on the writers. But if it turns out that Rey is in fact a Kiffer, or even a Kiffer hybrid, and has the psychometry ability, this can at least in part go to explain some of the issues with her character. But hey, that is just my thoughts on it. It's not, it is slightly my opinion, but I try not to think about the Disney canon because it gives me a bit of a headache in certain ways. But hey, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Maybe get a discussion going. Share it around if you think maybe this idea is worth a grain of salt. And I do mean a grain of salt, or more, depending on what mountain you may need to get through it. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Anyway, this is just a lizard's opinion on the internet, probably not worth much in the grand scheme of things. I will catch you on the next episode. Take care, guys.